Welcome to our webinar today with guest speaker Teresa Vosloo. Hello, Teresa.
Hi, Caitlin. How are you? And hi, everybody who's joined in.
I'm well, thank you. So Teresa is an honors graduate of the medical transcription program who is joining me today to talk about her experience.
Yes,
So if we can start with your background story, Teresa, what was your life like before coming to our school and what brought you here?
sure. Well, I am the stay-at-home grandmother of two beautiful teenage grandchildren. My husband and I have been taking care of them since they were little. And, I just wanted to be at home for them. And So I quit my job. I was a legal secretary, and I'd been doing that for 10 years. And I was able to stay at home with them, which I was very grateful for. Um, and my husband is just retired, and I was just thinking about jobs I'd really love to do from home to make a little extra pocket money.
Mm-hmm.
And my hairdresser happened to mention that her mom worked from home as a medical transcriptionist, and once she described what that was, that was a total aha moment for me. That is what I want to do. So you know, I knew I would enjoy doing it, and that it would be a challenge, which I love. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to just sit there typing day in and day out, getting bored with my job or anything like that. So that was really what attracted me to this job. So I called my hairdresser's mom, and she told me that there were a few places that offered MT courses, but she said that I would be doing myself a huge disservice by not going through CanScribe. She said that, although the course took a little longer through CanScribe and was considerably more expensive, that it covered everything required to complete the MT course thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time that I enrolled, CanScribe was offering an additional 3 months to the 1 year course for free. And, one thing I think the students or prospective students should know is, boy, anything can happen in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, you need as much time as you can get. For example, in my case, I got shingles on my scalp about 3 months into the course and suffered some really bad headaches where the shingles was.
Yeah, that's painful. I had
Oh,
that years ago on my back, and that was not pleasant. Oh,
no, it's yeah, I'm still getting very bad headaches at the site actually,
mm,
but just not quite as often, thank goodness. Also, you may come across obstacles of a personal nature, you know, which may also take you out of commission for a while. And um, it's always hard to um, uh, cater for things like that because you never know how long they're going to be or anything. But I would certainly put a couple of weeks of time to yourself
mhm,
within your schedule if you're going to make a schedule, and just for things like that, so that you don't start feeling panicked
mhm,
when something happens and you think, oh my gosh, what about my course?
mhm,
um yeah, and while I'm while I'm on the subject, I wasn't quite finished at the end of the 15 months. And so I think I had about another week to go. And the management at CanScribe was very understanding and gave me a whole month extra
Mhm.
in enabling me to finish my course. And I was very, very grateful for that. So, yeah, just make sure that you keep in touch with CanScribe and let them know what's going on in your life, you know. So, yeah, that's pretty much my background story.
Excellent. So you covered a little bit of this already, but what excited you about taking the program?
Well, I think firstly was that I could work from home. You know, that was a big thing for me.
Mhm.
Um, Secondly, I remember watching the news on TV at the start of COVID,
Mhm.
and one night they showed a doctor at the end of her working day after she had worked almost a full, 24 hours straight, and
Mhm.
she was standing in the hospital in full PPE, and you know she was at a part of the hospital where it was considered to be safe to remove her mask. And when she took her mask off, she just looked so incredibly tired, and she had marks on her face along the lines where the mask had been touching her face. It kind of looked like some kind of allergic reaction
Mm.
because the marks looked like really bad welts, and they looked very painful. And I remember her eyes just looked so lifeless, and she looked hopeless, kind of hopeless. And it really was quite shocking for me to see that. I felt very bad for her. When we think about our doctors, we think almost that they're superhuman.
Mm.
But that was, as I say, um, quite a shock for me because, here were the doctors right on the front lines of this new disease that no one knew much about, which made it so very scary. And I also later learned that there were a few doctors who had actually committed suicide because of, the stress that they were put
Mm.
under.
Mhm.
And I just sat in front, I remember sitting in front of the TV with tears in my eyes, wondering what any little thing that I could possibly do to help these doctors in some small way, even. And so when this course came up, I jumped on it because I thought to myself, this is helping them, you know,
Mhm.
this is helping them. I mean, when you hear some of the um, when you hear some of the transcriptions, some doctors are busy eating, some are yawning all the
Mhm.
time. And at first it annoyed me a little bit because I was
Mhm.
thinking, how am I supposed to hear what you're saying?
Mhm.
But then I realized these doctors are probably just eating when they can, and
Yep.
doing stuff like that when they can. So yeah, that I was really glad that I had taken the course. So yeah, that's what excited me about the course.
Excellent. What were some of the reservations you had about the program?
I'm just gonna have a quick sip of water.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, no, I know what you mean about the psychological toll from
Yeah,
working through COVID and hearing some of the doctors in my reports sounded very
tired.
exhausted,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
or there's a certain type of, it almost sounds like they're bored, but boredom and exhaustion can sound really close on the other hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, some of the reservations that I had about the course, well, I'm 63 years old now, and for about 10 years, I hadn't done any courses, certainly none as big as this one, you know. So
Mhm.
I kind of questioned my ability to complete the course. Um, and at the time, I kind of wondered if there was still a couple of brain cells still floating around upstairs, you know.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was also worried that maybe because of my age, I wouldn't be able to find a job after the
Mm.
course.
Mhm.
But you know, I've realized that there are actually quite a few people around my age group who have been doing the course and who have successfully found work. So
Mhm.
that was a great thing. Yeah, so let me just see if I wrote anything else down.
Now, we
Um,
definitely have students of all ages, and it seems that no matter what age you are, it's always something that people find, you're either too young or too old. There's no one who comes into this and says, I am the perfect age for this.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So also, you know, I've always um striven to do really well in any exams or courses that I take, and I'm very hard on myself. So
Mm.
but you know, I just I just carried on doing what I normally usually do, and it worked for me. So yeah, those were the reservations that I had, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
I did talk to my grandchildren because I knew that I'd be taking a chunk of time, you know,
Mm.
to do this, and they were both very supportive, as was my husband. And so I have to say thank you to them for that too.
Oh, that's so important to have that
Yeah,
support and have that talk ahead of time so that
absolutely.
when you run into trouble, you can get their help, and it's kind of a reminder. Well, you were behind me before, so be behind me again.
Yeah,
Here.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was that.
So, what were some of the ups and downs that you experienced over the course of the program?
Well, I've mentioned a couple of those with the shingles. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we had a family emergency during the time of the course that took a good 3 to 4 weeks
Mm.
to before I was able to get back to studying. So that took a fair chunk out of you know, my
Mm-hmm.
time. Um, the ups for me were understanding the content and doing
Mm.
very, very well on the tests. I mean, if you know, if you're going to do the course, you can challenge some of the tests,
Mm-hmm.
but I would really not suggest that you do that. The reason being that um, if you go through the all of the course subject, um, even if you found one thing that you didn't know, that one thing could be so important.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do go through it and there's nothing in there that's new, guess what? You've just studied for your exam.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, yeah, uh, that was a great thing for me because I was just able to sit down and really get on with the course, you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, w- other than the times that I spoke about. Also, uh, the tests are open book.
Mhm.
However, you can't always find the exact answer in all of the course material, and there's a lot of it.
Mhm.
Um, but I did study a lot. Like I read through the things, I made good notes, and um, that put me in good stead when it came to doing the actual transcriptions because I was familiar with a lot of the terminology from the course material. Um,
Absolutely.
Also, I have to mention here that especially towards the end of the course, I got a lot of help from uh, people like you, Caitlin, the support people. Um, I'm not a person who likes to ask for help. I'm just
Mm.
not. I'm just one of those people.
Mhm.
And I did try and struggle through at first, and realized much later that that was just silly because the
Mm.
ladies from support at CanScribe were able to answer all of my questions and were always very pleasant and professional. So I do need to shout out to them for that. And, the impressive thing too is that the support people are not too proud to say, I'm not sure about the answer to that. Um, I'll find out for you and get back to you. And I always was, you know, somebody got back to me and gave me the answer. Um, I think another up for me is that I've always really been happy working on my own. So just sitting in my office working on the course was very enjoyable for me.
Mm. Mhm.
Another thing I should mention here is that I'm not on social media
Mm.
at all. It's just a choice I've made. So I feel that, that helped me concentrate on the task at hand and get as much done as I could for the amount of time I put into the course because, I've seen people, including my grandchildren and children, spending so much time on, um, social media. And please, I'm not pointing fingers or
Mm.
anything like that, but I'm just saying, before you know it, 5 hours is gone, and
Mhm.
that's 5 hours that you could have, or at least 2 of those 5 hours you could have used just going through your some of your course. So
Mhm.
yeah, so those were you know kind of some of the ups and downs that I experienced.
Mhm. So, I want to ask how you overcame them, but particularly, I kind of want to maybe start with um, you mentioned you had to take 3 to 4 weeks off, and that can be a huge challenge to come
It
back
is.
to work. So, how did you overcome that challenge?
You know, I knew it was something that I wanted to do, and when I first started, I thought, when I first came back, I thought, is it actually okay for me to start doing this again now?
Mm-hmm.
Am I is everything over now? Am I ready? Is anything more going to happen? And um, but I just sat down and did the best I could, knowing that at any time, I may have to stop again.
Mm-hmm.
But Caitlin, I'm sure you and most people know that your family comes first, and um, if something like that happens, you don't even think about it. You just you just take as much time as you need, and then when you start feeling like, okay, I think I can start getting back, then you know when it's right for you. You know when it's right for you. So
Well, that
yeah,
can be even a conflict if you're in this course because you want to be able to support your family more, and
absolutely.
then you have to take a step back from it to give that support.
Yes.
It's it can be hard to kind of switch modes and go back to doing something that is ultimately for them, but like
Yeah.
you say, you want to make sure you're out of the crisis zone, right? So
That's exactly correct. Yes.
yeah.
That's exactly correct. Yeah, but I found an interesting well, I've had it for a while, and I love it. It's a quote by Einstein, and he says, life is like a bicycle. You stay in balance. To stay in balance, you need to keep moving forward.
Mm. Mhm.
So, that's kind of what I thought of when I actually started carrying on with the course.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a lovely quote. Good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if you could go back and do everything all over again, is there anything you'd change?
Yes, there is. um, take note, prospective students. Um, you will be given lists, word lists. Don't wait. Start entering the words into Excel, the very first list you get. Just start entering them into Excel, and list the meanings and things like that. You're going to have to do a little bit of searching and things like that. But if I could do it all again, what I would do is, when it comes to entering your medications, where you
Mhm.
have to put your generic and brand name, um, make a column for uh, dosages, because I
Mm.
didn't.
Mhm.
I didn't, and so now, um, if I need to see what the dosages are, I now have to research again, these
Mhm.
things, and I mean, it's kind of a waste of time. So yeah, get the general dosages, and just put them in there while you're going through the course. That's, and also, just a side note, if you don't know how to use Excel or Word or anything like that, you don't need to worry about it, because these programs are included in the course. And also, another thing I'd like to mention, also as a sideline, is it's okay to ask questions, and there really is no such thing as a stupid question in this
Mhm.
course. When I first started the course, as I said, I didn't like to ask questions. Um, I did think I may sound stupid, but I mean, that's why we're doing the course, to learn, you know.
Mhm.
If only we all had these huge brains where we knew everything about everything. But so yeah, so don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid uh, to ask even the same questions again
Mhm.
and again, and
Well,
until
and
you
if you
get
are,
it.
tell us. Say someone explained this to me, it's not clicking. We'll try and find another angle because
Yeah,
we know it's not the same for everyone.
absolutely.
There are different ways of thinking about things. So,
Yes, Yes, for sure. Um, also, don't fight the punctuation. Just do the punctuation as you're told. Yes, it's hard to get into it. It was difficult for me to get into the new way of punctuating in medical transcription, but there are some fabulous webinars on it. I know Laurie Monks did some
Mm-hmm.
really, really good ones. So yeah, that's another thing. I would probably have started earlier going through the webinars as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just that's those are the things that I would change, I would think.
So, is there anything that you would do exactly the same again?
Well, I worked through the course as most people do, in a way that worked for me, you know. So you could have 10 different people on your webinar giving you 10 different answers, you know. But for me, what worked was I made copious notes. I find that if I write things down, I see the little pencil
Mm-hmm.
next to in the picture there, and believe me, I made copious notes. And that has always been my modus operandi when studying.
Mm-hmm.
It's always worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as I said before, I made word lists in Excel. I made a new list for all the different systems, pharmacology, lab tests, diagnostic procedures, l- uh, lab testing with normal results,
Mm-hmm.
and then just general medical words. And it was incredible how often I was able to fall back on those lists time and time again, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to find an answer quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do that again in a heartbeat. Um, so as I said before, as soon as you start getting your word lists in the course, make up a medical terminology book in Excel. Find all the meanings, type those beside the words. You know, I can't stress how much time that saved me when doing the tests and the transcriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing, I used tabs upon tabs upon tabs, and my screen looks like a square flower because because it's got post-it notes all around, fluttering around.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that have fallen off, and I've put them back on. There's no way I'm letting them go anywhere, you know. Yeah. So so those were very useful to me, especially, you know, the little post-it notes, because if something came up and I wasn't sure, but I knew I had done a note up for it, I would just quickly look around my um, screen and I'd
Mm-hmm.
say, aha, I found you, you know. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, especially for the common errors that you're making, like um, I'm sure you've heard people mention, you know, the follow up
Mm-hmm.
and learning how, which is the correct way to do it. And towards the end, I actually got it right. So I was
Mm-hmm.
quite happy with myself for that.
Just
And
takes practice.
yeah, another thing I did, which I would definitely do again, is I marked each and every one of the transcriptions I did, whether the marking was optional or not. I did it. I marked each one. just listening again to that same one that you listened to. And because you look at yourself and you think, no, that can't be wrong. I definitely heard the guy say that, I heard the doctor say that. But when you listen again, sure enough,
Yep.
he says, so mark, which, any transcription you can mark it, whether it's optional or not. I honestly believe that one thing helped me so much in getting to learn not just what the doctors were saying, but also some of the little inflections they made.
Mm-hmm.
And before, before I didn't think what they were saying was actually a word, they were saying a word. And one day I phoned one of the support people at CanScribe, and I asked her to go through a transcription with me because I wanted to point out that there was an error in the answer key. That's what I wanted to point out to her. And we began to go through the transcription, and I was certain that the word that showed on the answer key had not been dictated. And I said, I can't hear that word. And she said, I can hear it. And I was thinking to myself, does this girl have radar ears or something? Because I can't hear it. So after she left, I went over the transcription again about 5 times. And sure enough, there it was. There it was. So, that taught me, that really taught me, it was interesting. The word that I thought shouldn't have been there was the word that. What was transcribed was she was not taking the medicine that the doctor had prescribed. And the way I've just said it, yeah, okay, it's easy. You can hear it because I've just said it clearly. But actually, all I could hear was she, what did I say? She was not taking the medicine the doctor had prescribed. You know what I mean? I left that out, but it was definitely there. And it just proved to me that you can really, I had been told over and over by people at the college, you can actually tune your ears into it. You could, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's not going to happen for me. but it did. And yeah, that's why you really should mark as many as you can because it helps so much. What else? Let me see. Use boss. Use boss. There are some real gems hidden in that book. I didn't use it so much to look up things as I did to just read through specific chapters. For example, the chapter on oncology is excellent. It's absolutely excellent. And even if you just read half a chapter a night or a couple of pages a night or something, you're going to learn something from it for sure. You're going to learn something. It's an excellent book, and I'm really glad I've got it. The other thing that I would say is, watch the webinars. It took me a while to get into that, but once I did, I realized how helpful they were. Because, as I said before, just as the course material can be helpful, even if there's just one thing you don't know, it's the same as the webinars. Just listen to them. People listening in would ask questions that I had never even thought of.
Mhm.
And I think, yeah, that's an excellent question, So yeah, I would probably start watching the webinars a little earlier on. Maybe not right at the very beginning because you're still learning quite a lot at the very beginning as far as software and stuff like that goes. But once you start on the actual course, the transcription material, um, I would say, yeah, uh, you should start going watching the webinars for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's what I would do, exactly the same.
Excellent. How did you feel going into your finals?
Well, I really, really wanted to prove to myself that I could do this, and so I I wanted to pass with at least honors. I really did. So I was a nervous wreck. I tend to do this to myself, over exams and tests because I'm very hard on myself. Um, so I was a nervous wreck, but um, if you know the course material and you've studied, um, the answers are all there, and you really don't need to work yourself up into a tizzy like I did.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you do anything to celebrate your graduation?
I did. My family took me out for dinner, and I shared the celebration with them because, of their support for me. They were amazingly supportive, and so I was very grateful for that. Really grateful for that. So yeah, that's what we did. We went out to a really nice dinner, and that's what we did.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Can you share some of your experience looking for work?
I have been looking for work. I only um, graduated on the 21st of December, so it hasn't been very long.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm finding that right now there aren't too many legit remote jobs out there at the
Mhm.
moment. But I just keep checking every day, because I do want to start working ASAP to try and just keep up with what I've learned. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that I don't forget too much. There are a thing that I did notice is that a lot of places are asking for between 60 to 80 words per minute, and I'm kind of just at 55 right now. So I'm trying to work on that. I do have a uh, typing software. I did try some of the typing software on the computer,
Mhm.
and the the ads just really bugged me, and there were glitches and things like that, and I,
Mhm.
I, I didn't enjoy that at all. So um, I, I've I, uh, I've been using Mavis Beacon,
Mhm.
and that's a great program. It really is. I love using it, and it's helping me to get faster. So in the time that I haven't been working, I've been trying to do at least an hour a day of typing practice.
Mhm. I wouldn't
Um,
be afraid either of reaching out and applying for jobs, even if they do have that on there. In my experience, they don't always even check. It's just something that they put in the listing and then don't, like, I've had jobs in the past where they didn't even ask what my typing speed was.
oh yeah, that would be
So,
great.
so yeah, just don't be afraid to apply, even if you feel you're under that. And same for jobs that are asking for experience. It never hurts to put your name in the hat.
Okay, but I have a question for you then.
Sure.
Would you mention that your typing speed isn't quite up to what they're asking for?
If they ask, I would say that with 100 or like high accuracy, it's around 55.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of the way that I would frame it, that you're making sure that your accuracy is
Yes, that's
on
right.
point. Because
Yeah.
I've seen the typists I know who are ridiculously fast are not accurate. So,
Yes. Well, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing.
mhm.
But I mean, sheesh, because I don't know how accurate I'd be at 70 to 80, but I'm pretty accurate at 55. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, well, thank you for answering that for me. I will definitely do that.
Very
Um,
welcome.
yeah. Um, but I did find also that, even during the course, when I was doing the practicum, um, the more and during the course, the more I typed, the faster I got.
Mhm.
So I'm quite confident that once I start work, that my typing speed will increase. You
Mhm.
know, yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, and also, I have a, I have applied for a job in Australia too.
Mhm.
Uh, so I don't know if I'll hear back from them, but I do know that on one of the webinars, one of the ladies had managed to find work in Australia.
Mhm.
I was born and raised in Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe,
Mm.
and I was raised, speaking the Queen's English.
Mhm.
And so I can switch back fairly easily between the Queen's English and American English and Canadian English. So,
Mm.
you know, that's the great thing about this job too, is that you can literally work anywhere in the world, you
Mhm.
know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty much. I've been I've been using a few programs. I've got myself on Indeed. I
Mhm.
haven't put myself on LinkedIn yet, but I'm using ZipRecruiter, and there are a couple of other ones that I'm using. I've forgotten now which ones I've tried, but a Glassdoor,
Mhm.
um, and then just looking at the actual places themselves, like Alberta Health Services, and
Mhm.
just to see what they're looking for. I've reached out to a few doctor friends of mine,
Mm.
um, and I think you've got to put in a little bit of effort to look for a job, especially now when things are a little slow.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
Wonderful. So I wanted to try something a little bit new and fun this time, and Teresa is humoring me for this. So
I
I
don't know.
know,
I don't know how this is going to go. Okay, so
this is the fun period, and I'll just say now to the students listening, if you want to pop a question to the chat box, feel free to do that, and then I'll get to those right after these fun few. So. If you remember the show Inside the Actors Studio, the
yeah.
host would always ask actors and actresses these questions at the end of it. I've taken out a few, but um,
Okay.
it started with, "What is your favorite word?"
My favorite word. Gee, I really have to think about that. My husband would probably tell you it's thing, because I say, could you please just grab the thing from the thing, and then he comes to me and he says, okay, now what thing am I grabbing and where is it? So I'd probably say, I don't know if that's my favorite word, but it's probably my most
Most
used
used.
word.
Oh, that's great.
Uh,
What about your least favorite word?
my least favorite word is probably because I've got teenagers, but my least favorite word is whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Um, I would say my grandchildren,
Hmm.
definitely. I think, just when I think about them, I I just want to I want to be a good grandmother and I want to be there for them and I want to teach them so many things. And
Mm.
I just, when you love somebody so much, it's like, okay, this is my life is for them now. So
Hmm.
yeah, I would say my grandchildren.
Lovely. What turns you off?
What turns me off? Um, hmm, that's a hard one. Um, I can't really think of anything off the bat, but I will as soon as you're gone.
Fair
Let me
enough.
just give me 2 seconds. Let me think what turns me off. Spelling errors.
Fair.
Spelling errors. I hate spelling errors. Yeah,
That's fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of birds.
Hmm.
In any birds. I just love the sound of birds. Yeah, definitely. I
Lovely.
also love the sound of trains in the middle of the night when I'm lying in bed and I just hear them going along, wondering where they're going, I love
Hmm.
I love that sound too. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Uh Screeching, loud
Hmm.
noises, people yelling and
Hmm.
yeah, that's probably what turns me off. Yeah.
Yeah. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Hmm. I started off my working life as a computer programmer, and I stayed at home with my children for 12 years. It was just something I always wanted to do, and so I got out of programming, and then I started doing administrative work.
Mm.
But if somebody came along and said, okay, you can do whatever you want.
Mhm.
Um, I would probably get back into computer programming actually, but there's a lot involved in that, so and it's changing all the time too. So you really have to be on your toes for things like that. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
What profession would you not like to do?
Oh boy, do you ever watch those shows on TV, Dirty Jobs?
I've seen a couple, yeah.
Oh my gosh, definitely. Yeah, cleaning out sewers and things like that. No, that's the
Mhm.
job I wouldn't like for sure.
That is fair.
Yeah, yeah.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, I think I'd like him to say, come on down.
Yeah, can't
Yeah,
get better than that, right?
yeah, yeah. Or come on up, probably he
Mhm.
would say,
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 yeah. Well, thank you
yeah.
so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thanks for humoring me in this little experiment
Yeah.
and for sharing all your knowledge. We're getting towards the end of the hour, so
Okay.
if anyone has any questions, feel free to type it in. Anything from Teresa's favorite headphones to, you know, the part of the program she disliked the most. But we are about 5 minutes to the end, so just to give you that warning. And yeah, so Narinder asks, what keeps you motivated during the course time?
If you're going to do this course, you're going to be, dedicated to it is what I'm thinking, because, you're paying a lot for this course, and you want to be sure, well, should I say, I wanted to be sure that I got everything I possibly could out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it is a great course. It really is a very nicely laid out course. I loved every minute of it, and just try, as I said, try not to spend too much time on social media. Um, find out which time of the day is best for you. I know that some students are working and doing the course. I
Mm-hmm.
I I tell you, my hat comes off to you for that, because I don't know if I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. But yeah, what I did was I found that the evenings were always the quietest time for me, like after dinner.
Mm-hmm.
After dinner, and the children are doing homework and all that kind of thing, and my husband's watching TV, and so I would just come down to my little office down here, and I would I would just start and work. And it's exactly like being, well, not exactly, but I mean, it's kind of from point of view of how fast the time goes. Sometimes I would look at the time and it would be 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd say, okay, I need to go to bed now. But I had learned so much
Mm-hmm.
during that time. I'm not a huge morning person. Um, I love the night times, and that was another reason I took this course, was that so that I could kind of do the transcriptions when it suited me and when I felt up to doing it.
Mm-hmm. And later
So,
on, working too. That's not a bad thing to put in too when you're applying, that you enjoy working in the evening, because a lot of companies are looking for MTs who will cover, later in the day as well
oh,
as earlier. So just an idea to throw in there.
yeah.
Some companies will even give you a bit of a bonus on your line rate or your minute rate, depending. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, because night times is always good for me. I love the quietness.
mhm,
There are a lot of people. I don't know if any of the people listening in now, if they like to listen to music while they're working, but I can't do that.
mm,
I remember having a brother like that, and he
mm,
was just, I never knew how he got his work done, and because I just like the quietness and being able to concentrate completely on what I'm doing. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Thank you, Narinder, and thank you so much, Teresa, for joining me today.
you are so welcome.
If anyone has follow-up questions, you can feel free to email me or call in. And if even if you want to ask Teresa, I have her email so I can
Yes, you can.
follow up. But
And you're welcome to give them my email too. Uh,
uh,
can I give it to them? Or
if you'd like, Teresa, you don't have to though. It's
okay,
totally up to you.
or you could too. Just give them my email.
Yeah, if you'd like. So, yeah, anyone who has any follow-up questions, feel free. But thank you so much, everyone who came out and everyone who is watching this later on.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed being here, and I hope that, even if you just got one little thing out of this webinar, I'll be happy.
Wonderful. So Narinder did ask if she could get your email, so we can
Sure.
follow up on that.
Okay.
And and yeah, you're very welcome, Teresa. And so thank you so much for sharing everything you did.
You're
So
welcome, Caitlin. Thank you.
have a wonderful day, everyone.
Yes, have a lovely day. Goodbye.
Bye.